Joining me now from St. Petersburg, Florida, president of the Poynter Institute, Neil Brown. Neil, I want to get to other stuff, but real quick, what's your take on this?
Well, I share your concern, Graham. The reality is, my thought was Russia. My thought was a little bit enemies list type stuff too. Listen, I think everybody's got a job to do, and the idea of sort of tracking names, taking names, keeping data, it collides with journalists doing their jobs, and I think it's probably not legal, and it's probably a bad idea.
One of the missions of the Poynter Institute, in case folks don't know, is to try and instill some ethics in journalism. Where are the ethics on this? And by this, I mean the mainstream media coverage of Donald Trump. 98% of the time, the mainstream media networks offer zero credit to Donald Trump, to the jobs market, to the increasing jobs market vis-a-vis the United States economy and its improvement over the Obama years. Not a heck of a lot of ethics going on there. This is bias by omission, correct?
Well, hey, you're right in this sense. The Trump administration and the press are on a deeply unfortunate collision course that started, like you said, possibly before he was president and continues on right now. I think some of the questions we have here, Graham, to be honest, are what's the definition of mainstream media? And what do you expect? I think where the media is off base these days may not be in any one specific thing, but sometimes it's in context. How often did the networks, if that's what we're talking about, credit Clinton, Bush, Obama for the economy up and down then? I think that it's worth some review. I think we get to a little bit of a numbers game of like 98% not, but
all right.
I take your point.
That's fine, but bias by omission is a form of bias, correct? I mean, this is something I would imagine that you folks study there at Poynter. I'm a recovering member of the mainstream media. It's a 12-step process. I'm on step number 11. That's why I'm here right now. I'm getting there, and I can tell you the process starts in local media in the newsroom during the generation of stories at the time. Well, we're going to ignore this story because it's pro-life. Instead, we'll cover Planned Parenthood over here. This happens.
Well, you're absolutely right. Context is everything, and whether it on either side, right or left, often the problem is when something is offered up with an authority that puts no context on it whatsoever. So that's A. B, where you talk about local news, maybe. But I would say that in general, part of the challenge as news organizations have gotten smaller and smaller is, I'm not actually saying this is an excuse, this is collateral damage, which is that people say, like, we don't have the time or the resources to even do wider stories or deeper stories that would put things in context.
Well, true, but they also take their marching orders from the New York Times, too, which is, quote, the newspaper of record. And the networks take their marching orders. By that, I mean, they don't have a pipeline to the New York Times, but they open up the paper and they say, oh, this is what the New York Times is saying, so we're going to report it, too. So it becomes an echo chamber. But I want to look at that echo chamber real quick. I pulled a few headlines, and they're all from our favorite network. The Clinton News Network. Donald Trump is laying the groundwork to delegitimize the 2020 election. That's one. Next one. Early polling suggests 2020 will be about Trump. That's bad news for him. And this third one, what if Trump refuses to accept defeat in 2020? It's fascinating to me, especially that last one, because essentially, when you look at the big picture of what's happening in the last 2 years, CNN is projecting what the Democrats are doing on Donald Trump. The Democrats are largely rejecting the results from the 2016 election.
I think there's always a problem with a premise, and you made the good point on pro-life, whether it's CNN on Trump, whether it's Fox on Trump. I mean, some of what I was asking you too, I mean, to engage is, what is the definition anymore of mainstream media? Fox's numbers are bigger than CNN's.
Right.
And I'm not defending that point on CNN. I'm just saying, like, I think that these terms are too vague. And I think you're right to take issue with any one CNN headline or a New York Times headline. But the key is precision is everything. And nobody in this day and age is being very precise in what they have to say.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One America News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.